Welcome to the Mindset for Success show. I'm Temia Brinson, your host, and I'm so excited about the show tonight because we have a special guest. Tonight we have Dr. DeMetra Williams, a published author, motivational speaker, and workshop facilitator. Dr. Mitra, you recently authored a book called Leading While Broken. So it covers so much. Anyone who's in leadership, spiritual leaders, corporate America, corporate leaders, managers, even law enforcement, parents, their leaders, so to speak, and teachers as well. So you have so much to give in this book I was reading, and I just found so many nuggets for just about every kind of leader that you can perceive. So I just want to go over the contents because the viewers, I want to let them know they need to get this book. This is so many interesting topics you have in here. You went over a broken surrender, watch your ticker, receiving restoration, the four-letter word, will to be clay, morning memories, and new is good news. It's a lot more stuff in here, but I just touched on just a few, just to give the viewers an idea of what you covered in the book. But tonight I want to focus on the strategy of stillness. So give me an idea of the strategy of stillness. How does that pertain to us as leaders, who have brokenness and how to walk in that? Because I never, until I read the book, I never known that or viewed that can be an actual strategy, stillness.
I think what's important that leaders understand is you don't always have to be doing something. Leaders, we feel like we have to either be talking on the phone, emailing, completing a task, and that there is a grace and stillness. There's something that we can get from just sitting somewhere and being still. And I know for leaders, we pour out so much. We give out to everybody. We're giving nuggets. We're giving inspiration. We're giving encouragement. We're giving tasks. We give out so much that we rarely get poured back into because we don't have time. And so when we're talking about the strategy of stillness, it is so important as a leader for you to find a space and a time for you to be still so you can get poured back into. If we think about a car can't run on empty. And how oftentimes as leaders running on empty because we've driven everywhere per se. We've driven to, somebody else's house. We've called somebody. Even in the midst of this pandemic as leaders, we had to get more creative. I know we're all zoomed out, right? Everyone's zoomed out because everyone's having to zoom this and so
Right.
right. And so it's important to understand that there is power in the word no. You need to understand that sometimes God is going to tell you don't go somewhere. And because he wants to get you to a point where he can pour back into you and minister back into you. And we as leaders have to see that. We have to understand that there is a strategy in being still and one getting refilled so we can pour back out. But also it's in that still place that you start to hear things from God.
Wow. Interesting. I mean, that is so important for people to recognize because, like I said, I didn't even realize that as a strategy, but even though I was doing it, I just didn't recognize that I was doing it. But that is a key strategy because when you're still, you allow for everything to just stop and you can just kind of like download everything and just, refuel, like you said,
Right.
restore. So I want to know, what would you say to a person that, some people that really don't know how to lead while they're broken, so to speak? For example, in corporate America, if you're a manager or if you're a spiritual leader, you have people up under you. Some people deal with things in silence, and they don't share with other people. And not that you should share with everybody in the world,
Right.
but some people do suffer in silence and they take it out on people that they lead. You know what I mean? They lash out, they become aggressive, angry. Some people even resort to revenge, just stuff that's petty, and they take it to another level all because of they're dealing with something
Right.
behind the scenes. So
I
how do
think
they
as
deal
a
with that?
I think as a leader, it's important to recognize when you're broken. It's
Mm-hmm.
important to recognize when you're not doing well, or you're not okay. And it's important once you get to that point where you're lashing out, you realize there is something wrong with me, because issues from the heart flow from the heart. So whatever's in your
Mm-hmm.
heart, whatever you're dealing with, is going to come. And we always hear the cliche, hurt people hurt people. And so
Right.
if you're going through a brokenness stage, one, you need to recognize that you're broken and then deal with what is going on. We as leaders, we don't want to look weak. We always want to look strong. We don't want to share that we're going through things because people may look at us and judge us. But it's important
Mm-hmm.
that we understand that we are going to go through things, and we have to deal with those. To me, is
Right.
sometimes as leaders, we walk away from the things that hurt. We walk away from the things that are painful. We walk
Mm-hmm.
away from anything that is not pleasing or doesn't feel good. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and especially if it doesn't fit our agenda or our to-do list for today. I don't know about you, but I do a to-do list every day. And if something's not on my to-do list, I'm like, can't get it done. And so it's important that we recognize we're broken and then deal with that issue. Because a lot of times we sweep it under the rug, and that issue
Mm-hmm.
we bury it in our hearts, and it's still
Right.
there. And it's still there, and it can begin to fester, and it snowballs, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And so the first step, as as a leader, is recognizing when you're actually broken.
All right. Good stuff. We'll be right back right after this break.
You set me aside. You tell me that I'm your pride, and you made me in your image to glorify your name. You wonderfully made me like this, so righteous. So I wanna give it back to you. Everything, all the praises, everything, all the glory. So I wanna give it back to you. Everything, all the praises, everything, all the glory. So I wanna give it back to you. Everything, all the praises you deserve all the glory. Praises go up and the blessings they come down. So I wanna magnify you. I wanna lift you higher. Praises go up and the blessings they come down. So I wanna magnify you. I wanna lift you higher. I just wanna find a place to shout and say, for all to hear I was created. You made me perfect. You made me like you, to honor you. So I wanna give it back to you. Everything, all the praises, everything, all the glory. So I wanna give it back to you. Everything, all the praises you deserve all the glory. Praises go up and the blessings they come down. So I wanna magnify you. I wanna lift you higher. Praises go up and the blessings they come down. So I wanna magnify you. I wanna lift you higher. 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 I'm gonna lift you high. 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 Oh, praises go up and the
A lot of kids who see me see the life that an artist lives and the touring that we do and the music that we make, and see this career that we have is super fun, and there's no way you could be sad or mad or depressed about anything. But, you know, I deal with the same issues as well. Taking care of yourself and making sure you don't always feel alone is kind of the most important part. What you really need is a friend. Kind of just recharges your soul in a way. Anytime my friends kind of beat around the bush about stuff, I like to call them out on it. If you feel something in your gut, if you feel something's wrong, you should talk to them about that. I know it may seem awkward and difficult to reach out to a friend who's struggling with mental health, but the best thing you can do is be a friend. Start the conversation and learn more at seizetheawkward.org.
And now, let's continue with our discussion. Now, that leads into my next question. How do you, okay, now that you recognize that you know, there's an issue, there's a problem, you can't go around hurting people because you have an issue. You know what I mean? Now that we have this recognized, how do you enter into getting that resolved, you know, without broadcasting that to the world, but not being isolated at the same time, whereas you cut everybody off to where you can't get any help?
It's tough for me to talk about that part because I'm an isolator. Like, I'm quick to, no, I'm good, I'm fine, I got this. But and I know many leaders are like that because it's safe. That's our safe zone. No one can hurt us or we can't hurt. So we do that. But I think once you recognize that you're broken, you got to realize, where do you need to take the broken pieces? Once you got your car diagnosed and there was something wrong with your car, where do you take your car to? You got to take your car to the person that can fix the car. And so when we're talking about leaders, who is the person that you look to? You know, who is your spiritual leader? Who, and, you know, for me, it was Jesus. I took my pieces to Jesus. And maybe, you know, somebody may not, you know, take their pieces. You got to realize, who are you going to take your pieces to? Because the pieces in your hand are going to be messed up, right? They're going to be jagged. They're going to cut you. Some are going to fall out because it's going to be too many. So you have to realize, once I'm broken, where do I take my brokenness? And so for me, I took it to Jesus, and that's who is, you know, my Lord and Savior. That's who I took it to, because that's who created me. And one thing about the Creator is he knows what I'm supposed to be. And so, you know, if you think about a mug, the person who made the mug will always know what that mug is supposed to look like, even if it's broken into 50 pieces. You know, you look at the potter always knows what their piece is supposed to be. And so I always say, take your broken pieces back to your potter.
Right. Okay. Good. Now, once again, you led into my next question. Okay. So now that we, you know, recognize the issue, we recognize that we have broken pieces, we've taken our broken pieces to the Lord. Okay. We're not necessarily isolating ourselves, but we're being open to God. And we're trying to recognize that we want to do better while we're leading. So now we're at this place. How do we go forth? You know,
I think it's important to watch what you're watching, watch what you're listening to, watch who you're around, because once you have taken your broken pieces to the potter, you're at such a vulnerable position. You know, you've admitted, I can't do it by myself. And for leaders, that's tough to say, I can't do it. That is tough for leaders, because I think we pride ourselves in being fixers. You know, we fix problems, we fix solutions. We're always putting out fires. And once you realize it and then you've given it to somebody else, I think it's important that you watch what you're doing, watch who you're around, and watch where you're going. I'm not saying isolate yourself, but if you know somebody's going to give you a trigger, you might not be around that person. You know, people trigger.
Right.
People trigger, music triggers, memories trigger, places trigger. You know, we can all remember, you know, a song could take you back somewhere. You know, when you play a song, I could tell you what decade it was in, where I was at in my life, you know. And so it's important to watch what you're feeding into your soul, into your body. And so once you've given your pieces, I would say, get to your stillness point. Get to the place where you're like, God, it's just me and you. Like, it's just me and you talking. And then the people that you allow around you, make sure they're praying for you. And, you know, and
Right.
if I somebody, it was something somebody said to me. I was like, I'm praying for you. They said, well, what are you praying? And I was like, oh, that's a really good question. What are you praying? You know, people always say, because we hear this all the time, I'm praying for you. I'm praying, but what are you praying? And so it's important to make sure you surround yourself with the right people so they know the right prayer. You know, they know
Wow.
what, and then, you know, you don't have to tell them your business, right? Because
Right.
sometimes,
Exactly.
you know, we don't want to share that, but tell them
Mhm.
enough where they can know what to pray. Like, hey, sis,
Right.
I'm going through something right now. That's enough, because if you're using your own discernment, and it's got to show you, got to tell you what to pray for. So I don't think we need to tell somebody what we're going through, but I think we should share that I'm going through something and I need help.
Mhm.
And, you know,
Right.
you shouldn't be afraid to ask for help. I know, for me, it's tough. Asking for help is one of the toughest things for me, because I was raised to be so independent by my father. I love my daddy. He raised me to be independent. And
Yeah,
so
you like me, daddy's girl.
that's my daddy. I love my daddy. I'm so excited. My daddy and my mommy are coming to see me for the holidays. So I'm super excited. But he raised me to be strong, and that might be to a fault, you know.
Mm.
But it was tough, and it still is. I'm still working on it. You know, even though I wrote the book, I'm still going through certain steps again. You know,
Right.
and so for me, asking for help even now is still hard, because one, I don't
Mhm.
want to be a burden on anybody, and sometimes I feel like asking for help, it makes me look weak or that I can't do something, and we got to get past that. So once we're broken, give our
Amen.
God, you know, ask for help. You know, and
Yeah, we got
especially
to get past that stigma.
we got to call
I
AAA
mean, it's a.
sometimes.
We'll be right back right after this break. A little over a year ago, I was let go from my job after being there for 17 and a half years. I was looking for employment and had back-to-back interviews. Little did I know, my entire employment file was frozen and no one was able to verify my previous employment. So while I was trying to get that straightened out, I got my mortgage license. But guess what? That wasn't enough. So one day, a pastor friend of mine told me about making money on the stock market. I researched it, found teachers and people on YouTube to explain everything, and finally, I gave it a try. My first trade, I made $400, and then I got better the more and more I started trading. I got to the point where I'm making almost the same amounts that I was making when I was on the job. Now I'm buying a new car and still paying my bills, all while trading stocks for a living. I am what is called a swing trader. I remember while on my previous job that I would be saying to my coworkers and to God that I wanted to work for myself so I could free up my time and do what God called me to do. Little did I know that God was listening in on the conversation and working to fulfill that dream. I want to give you the opportunity to have the same financial knowledge. So let me encourage you to become a member of Mindset for Success. Become a VIP or a professional member, because when you have those memberships, you will be able to follow my journey. I will have videos showing you how I do trades. You will have access to certain trades that I make. You will also see what I'm doing and also see the strategies that I put in place. So again, go ahead and join and sign up. You have to be either a VIP or a professional member to gain access. So go ahead and do that today.
Even though there is so much against us,
You will see me choose to protect myself and my community from the coronavirus by wearing a face covering.
Because it's going to take all of us thinking about one another.
And even with my face covered, you will see me.
You will see me as a mother, a wife, a friend.
As an athlete who gave everything to the game I love.
As a father, leading by example.
As a sister.
An entertainer.
As a champion for my people.
You will see me finding a light in a dark time.
To unlock our creativity and push our craft.
You will see me demanding the space to tell the stories that matter.
As a man who knows that tough times don't last,
but tough people do.
Join us in wearing a face covering to help stop the spread of the coronavirus.
Because covering your face is one small act of kindness that has the power to bring us together.
And now, let's continue with our discussion. I don't know why it's such a stigma to perceive that you're weak if you ask for help. You know,
and I think it's important as leaders to go talk to somebody. Like, you know, we always say pray. I believe in prayer, but I believe that God has anointed therapists and people to talk with you. And so it's important that when we look at our mental health, a lot of times, you know, you'll see people working out, but that mental health piece can damage you for the rest of your life. That mental health will have you, you know, you're in a state of depression. That's your mental health. And so we need to realize as leaders that we need to find a place and a person, even if it's somebody professional who can't tell anybody, that we can just unload. Amen. And when I mean unload, everything that's on you, all the burdens, you got to find somebody you can unload to, and it won't get back. You trust them.
Right.
They'll pray for you. That's important.
Right. I mean, when they're under contract, they can't tell.
Right.
So
right.
that is a good tool for leaders, especially when they don't want their business out and you're leading other people. And you might, if it gets out, you know, you may be judged unjustly, unfairly, you know what I mean? All because you're a leader. So I think that's a very good point to bring up too. Outside help, professional help is a good tool.
Because I think we put leaders on pedestals. And, you know, leaders are, you know, if we look at when a pastor falls, it just goes viral. You know, the member of the church will do the same thing. It doesn't go viral, right? And so I think we put leaders on pedestals and we expect them to be perfect, not realizing every leader is a human being who is just striving to do the best they can in the position that they have. Right.
So I want to know also, because when I was reading, this is one thing that stuck with me, is that the strategy of stillness is that you must be intentional. So tell me what you mean by that, because to me, that means a schedule.
You have to schedule quiet time. You have to say on Thursday at 2:00, I'm going to cut my phone off. I'm going to shut down social media. I'm going to go somewhere where no one can call me. So it has to be intentional, because if you don't schedule it, what's going to happen at Thursday at 2:00? Something else is going to get put on your schedule. Right. If you don't say, hey, if you have an assistant, hey, can you schedule me a 1-hour break? But there's no calls, no clients, no one's able to come in. Schedule me 1 hour. Right. You have to be intentional with taking care of yourself, because at the end of the day, when you're gone, and they're going to replace you. So we want you to be the best that you can while you're there, but you have to take care of yourself and be intentional in making time for yourself.
Yeah, that is another good tool because, I mean, people get so busy and they forget to stop and just take care of themselves. You know, they're so busy taking care of everybody else, the family. You know, when you go on a job, if you're in leadership, if you're in management, you have to take care and see about, you know, the work of the day, make sure the employees get everything done. If you're a spiritual leader, you have to take care of everyone else's spiritual needs. And sometimes, you know, things arise when you're doing events or amongst, you know, the staff or whatever, you have to put fires out. So, and it's just overwhelming to, you know, leaders, and they sometimes forget to take that time. So I think scheduling that out, you know, time management, scheduling a time for you, I think that's very important. And, you know, I think it was like 10 years back, it was such a fad to have like time management and self-care. Right. For some reason, we, you know, lost that. So
I think if we look back at kids, you know, when kids start to act up, we put them in timeout, right? Because we notice there's something wrong with them. I think as leaders, sometimes we need to put you know, you're a little bit more snippy. There's something wrong with you. So put yourself in a timeout. And, you know, because we realize that timeout, the kid can think about what's going on and reflect on what you did or why you did. You as a leader, reflect on what you did and why you're doing it. Sometimes we need to put ourselves in timeout.
Right. Well, Dr. Williams, where can we find your book, Leading While Broken?
I'm so excited to say that we are on Amazon. You can search Leading While Broken or Dr. DeMetra Williams. If you are in the Central Florida local area, you can add me on social media, if I may say that.
Yes.
My social media is DeMetra1913 on Instagram and DeMetra Williams on Facebook. And if you live in the Central Florida area, you can get a personalized copy. Or if you want me, I can email or mail one to you as well. So for those that want a signed copy, they can get it for me by reaching out to me on social media. But if you just want to get a book, and it's like, I want it fast. And the reason why I say that is I'm so lucky since my books are sold out. I have no books on hand right now.
Wow. That's amazing.
I had 6 left, and somebody called me and said, "Hey, I need 5 books." Woo! Okay.
Yeah.
So I have another shipment coming in on Monday. I just never expected it to go. You never realize who else is going through this situation. There's so many leaders out there that are hurting.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can get it on Amazon. This, I put notes because I keep going through this book, y'all, over and over again. Like sometimes I need to read, like, oh, what do I need to read? Sometimes I just need it for encouragement.
It's so many nuggets. I can see why you want to go over your own stuff. It's good when you enjoy your own cooking.
Oh, yeah. Especially when you know it's good. When you know it's real, like everything in this book I went through. Like I don't have anything to fake or to hide and I think what was tough is the book is transparent for me. I'm not one that really shares a lot. I let people see a certain layer of me. Like I let you see, hey, how you doing? That person. But this book, you get to delve into who DeMetra is and what my friends call me, who Dee Dee is. Like I go deep. And so it's really transparent. And I know I need it to be for other leaders to understand it's okay to be transparent and to see that I wasn't okay. God has brought me all the way out. He went from broken and he brought me out to wholeness.
Wow. Wow. Well, you guys go ahead and get the book. The information is on the screen. I'm also going to link it to our website and promote the book because, again, there's so much nuggets. I mean, you have to get this book. Whatever you're going through, it's a page turner. One tool after another. You will not, regret getting this book. So go ahead and get the book. And Dr. Williams, I'm so glad that you came on and to share with us.
Temia, thank you for this honor. It's a privilege to be on this show with such a great host. I'm so excited for what God is doing in your life. And just so you know, y'all, this is a journal as well. And so make sure you're journaling with it. It's a whole journey. And so thank you for allowing me to share my book.